Denver, Colorado, a city that's had a history of American open-wheel racing going all the way back to 1909. However, American open-wheel racing hasn't had a presence in the city since the early to mid-2000s. We're going to take a look at IndyCar's final visit to the Mile High City in 2006 when the Champ Car World Series came to town. Fireworks at the previous race in San Jose between Alex Tagliani and Paul Tracy sparked a whole lot of excitement heading into this one. Paul Tracy, who made a mistake, went off into the runoff area. When he tried to rejoin the track, he merged right into traffic, taking out Alex Tagliani. This ended both of their races, and then fireworks would erupt on pit road as the two would get in a heated discussion and then a fight. So this left many people wondering, would the two clash again here in Denver?
Okay, stand back here because we got so much room at turn one. Drivers like to take chances. Glad to have you with us. Green's in the air. Bourdais leads him into one. Contact! Tag and Tracy! Not again!
And it only took to turn number one for the two to make contact with each other once again, sending Paul Tracy for a spin. Unfortunately, Paul Tracy would stall the car as he slid backwards, and the first full course caution would come out on lap one of the race.
Tag is down here. Look, he drop kicks Tracy right there. Tag hit the curb down the inside, trying to be a bit too brave. That's almost identical to what we just showed you from last year's start. I think Tag might have got away with it. On board. Tag's going to come down from this side here. Tracy saves, oh, whack right there. Boom. Tries to keep the engine running, and then he stalls it going backwards. Schwartzman got by. PT was able to refire the three car, spin it around, and he will join at the back. Now, full course yellow, so the field will regroup for a restart. Okay, left side of your screen. There goes Tag. Tag just braked too late. The field separated, allowed Tag more room from the apex. Paul Tracy was already safely on his turn-in line, and then he got collected.
As you can see, Paul Tracy eventually got restarted and continued at the back of the field. With only 16 cars in the field, that's actually not too detrimental. But Alex Tagliani, on the other hand, ended up getting enough damage to actually bring an end to his race, and they would have to retire the car. Pole sitter Sebastian Bourdais would lead AJ Allmendinger back to the green for the restart.
Single file off of turn 9, restart on lap number 2. Now that's Allmendinger in front of Wilson, chasing Bourdais, the fast qualifier. Junqueira fourth right now.
Wow, so much happens at this level of racing. It's such an emotional roller coaster.
For the next few laps, nothing exciting happened at the front of the field and not much passing was going on. However, Paul Tracy, who took the opportunity to come into the pits during that first yellow after his spin, put on the softer red tires, and was the fastest car on the racetrack, tearing his way through the field, as by lap 9 he made it up to 8th place. A few laps later, Mario Dominguez would go for a spin, and you'll never guess who had something to do with it.
In practice, Tracy's involved. Tracy's involved. He's down the inside at 9. Whoa, Tracy gets it locked up. Oh, he's all arms and elbows as he tries to hang on.
And he left Dominguez sideways back there on the outside of the corner. Here's another look.
Yeah, I think he dumped Dominguez into the bushes. He did. Saving himself, he drop kicked Dominguez.
The two former teammates, of course, into this season. Dominguez replaced by AJ Allmendinger before Portland.
That's Tracy's fighting form and the Wild Wild West all in one row there.
On lap 16, Oriol Servia would be the next car to retire from the race as he had an engine failure. And less than a handful of laps later, Andrew Ranger would be the next victim of attrition, as his race would come to an end with a gearbox failure. On the very next lap, Nicky Pastorelli would go for a spin after contact with Mario Dominguez. Pastorelli would continue, and so would Dominguez after going off in the runoff area. And simultaneously as that was going on, leader Sebastian Bourdais would hit pit road to kick off green flag pit stops, as he would elect to pit at the very beginning of the fuel window of race pit strategy. 2 laps later, Mario Dominguez, who I just previously mentioned, would bring his car into the pits and end up retiring due to some rear left suspension damage, as the Dale Coyne team deemed his car not repairable after assessing the damage. With all this excitement going on around the track, Sebastian Bourdais' Newman-Haas teammate Bruno Junqueira took over the lead of the race when Bourdais darted into the pits. He would end up leading for 11 laps before making his pit stop, cycling Sebastian Bourdais back to the lead of the race on lap 32. On lap 35, the second full course caution of the race would come out, this time for debris. However, the broadcast never actually showed any debris on the racetrack, so I'm not exactly sure where or what that debris was. This yellow would be relatively short of 4 laps, and the leader Sebastian Bourdais, second place AJ Allmendinger, and the rest of the front runners would stay out on the track. And yes, in case you're wondering, that is Paul Tracy who made it up to 4th spot.
Getting ready for the restart to begin lap number 38, and we are underway. Bourdais, Allmendinger, Wilson, Tracy 4th on the restart. Junqueira back up to 5th in front of Philippe and Zwolsman. Power, Dan Clark, and Catherine Legg, your top 10. Wilson trying to put a little pressure on his former teammate Allmendinger.
And it's a straight fight here now that everybody got bunched up. We'll see how good Tracy is, because Wilson, I'm not sure Wilson has the speed to stay with an Allmendinger, but look at the way Bourdais has run away and put daylight between himself and AJ Allmendinger.
However, AJ Allmendinger and his Forsyth teammate Paul Tracy would not let Bourdais get away, as on lap 48 heading into turn number 1, AJ Allmendinger would make a lunge to the inside to take the lead of the race. This was a big move, because throughout this race it seemed like Allmendinger had more pace than Bourdais, but he was stuck behind him and just couldn't get around him until now. On lap 57, Sebastian Bourdais would kick off the next round of green flag pit stops, hoping to make an undercut on AJ Allmendinger, who would stay out for a few more laps. This let Justin Wilson and Bruno Junqueira lead some laps, but when everything cycled back through, AJ Allmendinger was still in front. With under 30 laps to go, Paul Tracy would make it up to 2nd spot behind his teammate AJ Allmendinger, with some clear track in front of him, trying to run his teammate down, who had a pretty healthy margin over him. Now with less than 10 laps to go, Paul Tracy's only hope would pretty much be a caution, as he was 12.8 seconds behind his teammate. His team also had some fuel concerns, and he was also running the car pretty hard, making a mistake, losing even more time, putting him 15 seconds behind his teammate with only 9 laps to go. Fast forwarding to only 2 laps remaining, AJ Allmendinger is way checked out. He's basically on cruise control at this point, but Paul Tracy is struggling, trying to save fuel, probably hurt his tires a little bit, making some mistakes. Began to see Sebastian Bourdais close into his rearview mirror. Bourdais really wanted to get this 2nd position from Tracy, because the championship battle was actually starting to heat up between Bourdais and Allmendinger.
Now Bourdais got 4 seconds of Cosworth power to pass.
Set him up for the main straight. You got your push to pass.
Oh, there's the ace in his hand.
And remember, that's actually worth 10 seconds. When you hit the button, you get a full 10.
And Tracy's dead. He's already used all of his. Okay, what's the drag race? What's
Here
the drag
comes
race?
Allmendinger. He's going to come to the checkers. AJ Allmendinger will win his 4th race of 2006. Allmendinger is your winner.
Okay.
Now the battle's for 2nd.
What about Tracy?
Tracy and Bourdais contesting 2nd on the backside, and Bourdais gets by. Here's Tracy.
No!
Tracy to the inside.
Oh, he hit him.
Contact! Tracy knocks the front end off the 3 car. He's broken. He gets back on the gas. Bourdais spins the 1. He stalled it. Can Tracy creep home? Or is he dead in the water? Bourdais dead in the water. Neither of them may make it. Tracy's done. Look at him pound the steering wheel. Unbelievable. Who's going to get 2nd? It could be Bruno Junqueira. Tracy's done. Wow. Bourdais trying to burn out, Derek. He can't get the car to move. That's Tracy climbing out. Bourdais smoking the tires over there. Let's see if we can see Bourdais. Where's Bourdais? He's out of the car and he's done.
He wants Tracy.
Oh boy, here we go again.
He wants Tracy. He wants him.
Is this a replay of San Jose?
He wants him. Don't touch him. Oh!
Now that's not something you normally see.
Hey,
Remember that Tracy's on probation.
This has championship implications for Sebastian Bourdais because Allmendinger won.
Allmendinger, your winner. Junqueira 2nd. Dan Clark gets to the podium as the 2nd and 3rd place cars take each other out in the final corner.
Separate those boys.
For the second week in a row, Paul Tracy gets into a shoving match with another driver. And similar to the previous incident with Tagliani, once again it was Paul Tracy's fault here. Just being a little bit too ambitious on the brakes, locking them up, which he's made that same mistake a few times throughout the race. Both drivers tried desperately to keep their cars going to try to salvage the podium finishes, but both were unsuccessful in doing so, especially Paul Tracy as his car was cooked with heavy suspension damage. Bourdais, on the other hand, if he just kept it running, he might have been able to get away with it and salvage a second place finish, but both drivers would have to settle for a 6th and 7th place result, with Tracy actually getting the edge over Bourdais. Race winner AJ Allmendinger, as he came back around, was kind enough to pick up his teammate Paul Tracy and take him back to the pits, as this was another amazing result for AJ Allmendinger, picking up his 4th win of the season since switching over to Forsyth Racing and beginning to put some pressure on Sébastien Bourdais for the championship. Anyways, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. I feel like this era of Champ Car doesn't get enough love, and I completely understand that, but there is some awesome moments that deserve recognition and some pretty iconic moments, especially involving Paul Tracy. If you're into motorsports history, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you in my next video. That's all. Take care, everybody.